Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for PPC Live 18 online. I'm so excited to have you here to join our online version of the PPC Live event that we had on October the 22nd. It was such a special event. I've got to say, you've got to feel a bit of FOMO because it was such an electric environment to be in. We had three fantastic speakers, and everybody in the audience we're just excited to talk about what was working for them in 2025, what they liked, what they hated. With PPC folks, we love a good rant, and we did that very well. And then we talked about what we're excited for 2026, or we expect to be speaking about in 2026. But not to worry, we've got a version of that, today. We've got the fantastic speakers, Stephanie Caldecott, Basak Odemis, and Neil Baker, who gave three fantastic talks that we're going to stream for you right now in a moment. So yeah, thank you for staying for joining us for this. PPC Live is going for over 3 years now, and because I feel like we need to have these conversations. I feel online we have the conversations already. So I was like, let's bring us together to discuss what's really important with each other. Please join our network in any way that you can, whether it's going on our website, checking our blog, signing up to our newsletter, joining our WhatsApp group. Such fantastic conversations happening there as well. Such amazing curiosity happens as well. And yeah, if you want to contribute to any of the things that we're doing, if you want to sponsor anything that we're doing, please get in touch with me so that we continue to grow this fantastic community and this project that we keep pushing ahead. A big thank you to Jyll Saskin Gales, who's fantastically, puts all these things together on her platform and really helps me get this thing going. Thanks to Tug Agency, who hosted us, and thanks to ClickTech, our partner. But without further ado, thank you so much for being here. Please start dropping your questions as soon as you can in our chat. But yeah, I'm excited for us to go and start streaming our talks online now. So yeah, hope you enjoy.
PPC Live Online. I'm your host, Jyll Saskin Gales. I'm a Google Ads coach and the founder of the Inside Google Ads course, podcast, and best-selling book. I'm thrilled to be here to host PPC Live number 18 online for everyone to see. Thank you so much to Anu for founding PPC Live, bringing this great expertise to all of us and allowing us to share it with you on YouTube and LinkedIn. Our first speaker today is Stephanie Caldecott. Let's see what she has to say.
So yeah, first things first, Annie's just said, but I am by no means a PPC expert. You could be forgiven for thinking so because I'm here at PPC Live and in front of a lot of PPC experts from what I imagine, and I also work for a PPC agency, so it would kind of make sense if I were one, but actually I'm a generalist of about 11 years, so I've worked in SEO, social media, web, CRM. The only thing I haven't worked on is a PPC account, actually. So some people might describe me as a jack of all trades and a master of none, as everyone's heard that, right? Yeah, okay, good. I want you to keep this quote in mind because I'll be coming back to it a little bit later on. I think it's a bit self-deprecating, really, this quote, and I'm sure other people refer to it as well, but I wouldn't say that I've never had the opportunity to be a master of any. I think that there have been times where I've specialised in a specific role. There have been times where I've been able to dive a little bit deeper into certain areas. But ultimately, what I really love about marketing is being able to dip my toe in a little bit of everything and understand the full funnel. So, as I said previously, I'm very aware of my audience. I'm aware that you guys are in PPC. So I don't want this to be too controversial or ruffle too many feathers. But PPC is not always the main character. I know, what? Shock, I know. Look, let's be honest, guys. I know, I'm so sorry. We know the effectiveness of PPC, right? We know that it drives results. We know that ROI is easy to track and how performance can be used and data can be used to drive future success. And it's also really, really tangible. So it's black and white compared to other marketing channels that, from my experience, it's taken years and years for me to understand that there's really no way 100% to know how they're performing at times. So really, no marketing channel is the main character. They're all important. They all have their own roles in the full funnel. And I'm a really positive person by nature. So my kind of utopia would be that we can all work together and attribution is perfect. But I know that that's not the case. And I know that actually most of the time we're all fighting for that attribution and, you know, kind of telling each other where to go. But for the next 15 to 20 minutes at least, I'd like us all to think bigger than just PPC or just clicks. Rather than competing with other channels, I think we should try and understand them and understand the content that goes into them to drive growth, to drive success, and also how they benefit our clients and customers. Business is changing. Anu spoke about the word of the year of the century, right? AI. And a lot of it's out of our control, but we know that marketing needs to follow suit. So before I move on, I'm Steph. I'm marketing director at Circus. I recently got promoted. Yeah, clap if you want. Yay! And for anyone that doesn't know Circus PPC, it's kind of in the name. We're a specialist PPC agency and we're based up in Leeds. So we've taken the trip down today to be here. And we focus on results, relationships and expertise. And we try our best to become an extension of our clients' teams and deliver the best possible PPC performance. But today I'm not really going to be talking that much about PPC and more so, like I said, the entire marketing mix. And we're going to be focusing on not just clicks, but actually the entire marketing ecosystem. And more specifically, I'm going to be going through the 4 content pillars that I focus on when designing a marketing strategy. So getting on to the 4 content pillars: growth, authority, connection, and promotion. And right now, I know that they just look like 4 random words on the screen, but don't worry, I'm going to get into each one individually. So for me, if content fits into one or more of these pillars, it has purpose, it has some sort of intent, and it's somewhat strategic, whether you meant for it to be or not. And going downwards, this could be seen as an example of a funnel, right? So growth is awareness, authority and connection is the research and consideration period, and promotion is the purchase and the point of sale, that conversion. So let's start with growth. How do we reach new audiences? So traditionally, when we speak about growth, we think about business and we think about monetary value, we think about revenue, we think about ROI and the gain at the end. However, it can also be things like awareness, visibility, and presence. Growth content often sits at the upper funnel, and the metrics that we use to measure it are engagement, reach, and impressions. We're not directly selling, but we're building presence, we're building trust, and we're building the community. One of the best examples of growth content that I think is personally effective is social media. We see so many social media influencers start from the bottom up, right? Think of the example of Molly May. She is a great example of growth content and how it pays off. She went on to one of the biggest shows in the UK, right, Love Island, and obviously that was appealing to a mass audience. But then she continued that community, she continued that growth, and now she's a multimillionaire and she owns 2 very successful businesses. Another great example of growth content on social media that I really loved, very recent actually, was this from the NHS. Did everyone know that Travis and Taylor got engaged?
True.
No? No? I mean, I guess anyone that's on LinkedIn, anyone that is alive, has social media, probably knew about this. But, you know, I'm not going to comment on the political side of it, the, you know, potential sensitivity of the post, but this is a great example of how sometimes brands jumping onto bandwagons isn't a bad thing. They got backlash, you know. I like to think that they knew they were going to get a bit of bad backlash, but they also got loads of positivity, loads of praise for how they approached this and making things more accessible for a bigger audience of people. Big brands get a lot of slack for jumping on the bandwagon, and we all do. Oftentimes I hear a lot of people talking about how we should only post things that are totally relevant to our brand, but I kind of disagree. Sometimes the only way to reach more people is with relevance. And the more relevant you can be, the more people you can reach. Ultimately, what that's going to lead to is a happy algorithm, because there's more engagement, there's more impressions, likes, shares, saves, all of those things that we call vanity metrics. More time spent on the app means that your content is going to get pushed. Moving on to authority. So how do we highlight our USP? So when you do reach this mass audience, and within that there's someone that's interested in your business, it's important to have the evidence to back up who you say you are. It's very similar to, I guess, quality score, and when people click through to an ad, making sure that your landing page is relevant, right? You want people to have that trust in what you're saying and make sure that everything that you are saying is backed up by evidence. Why should they trust you? Why should they trust you more than your competitors? And when I say USP, I'm not talking about uniqueness, the point of we do or we provide something completely different, but it's more about how you deliver it and how you provide it. Authoritative content is like a CV for your business. They're not really far removed from each other. They're the same concepts. Applying for a job and having a CV to do that is very similar to chasing a client or nurturing a client and having the business content to back that up. Think about it like this. References are your testimonials, the experience is your case studies, and your skills are your services. And I don't know if anyone did this, maybe this is an older thing when I first did my CV, but the little bit at the end of the CV that's like hobbies and interests, does everyone do that? And you say the most interesting possible thing, and then you look back at it years later and you're like, you know, I've never been salsa dancing. Yeah, I've never done that. But, you know, that's kind of our cultural content. That's giving your brand a personality. Connection. How do we tell our brand story? And even more importantly, like, why should people care? People are selfish, especially when they're spending money, and they always focus on what's in it for them. They want to know the outcome, not the process. And the way that we connect with those potential customers is by selling in the benefit, not the actual service. Selling in the why and not the how. So one of my favorite ever examples of connection content is the 2018 John Lewis Christmas advert. Anyone remember it? Yeah, great. Oh my God, amazing advert. You should, if you've not seen it, YouTube it. Honestly, you will not regret it. Anyway, I'm not just sharing this because I am a massive Elton John fan, because I am a massive Elton John fan. But for those that haven't seen it, the basic premise is that a little boy is gifted a piano for his birthday, and he grows up to become the great Elton John. Perfect, great story, right? And this didn't only evoke emotion, but we know from the stats that it worked. The week that this ad went live in November of 2018, search volume for pianos doubled. And John Lewis created that demand. Going back to authority and, you know, taking the connection away from it, unfortunately, John Lewis created demand that they couldn't keep up with. So I don't know if anyone knew this, but at the time that this advert went live, John Lewis didn't sell pianos. So you know, they drove all this demand, they drove all of this search volume, only not to be able to capitalize on it. And I would say that's probably one of also the biggest business mistakes of all time, right? So as much as it was a great piece of connection content, it wasn't great for authority. And sometimes interconnecting those pillars is just as important as focusing on them alone. And finally, let's get on to promotion. So I think similarly, when we spoke about growth earlier, we talk about business growth and we talk about money. It's similar with promotion and how we drive conversions. You know, conversions to a lot of people, they immediately think of things like sales, things like leads. But it's actually any action that we deem valuable. It's any action that we can get valuable information or assets from. And it comes down to knowing where to restrict what you give away for free. So once people have gone through the funnel, once people have gone through that growth, they've seen the authority, they've connected with you, they trust you, hopefully, right? It's a transactional piece of content. And it's driven by what you know about your audience, and also vice versa, what they know about you. So my final example is a little bit of a different one. I was struggling last week to find a piece of promotional content that wasn't like, get your free PPC toolkit or, you know, download our recent webinar. I wanted something a little bit more creative. And I saw this in my inbox. I don't know about anyone else who's in their late 20s, early 30s, but if I see a subject line saying, how old do you really look? I'm clicking on it. I want to know how old people think I look. You know, it's morbid curiosity, it's fun, and they know their audience. I bank with Lloyds. They've already got my information, but they still hooked me. They still pulled me in. And equally, that age is also the age where we're far away enough from retirement to not think about it too much. But, you know, we hear our peers talking about it, and it's like, you know, am I putting enough in? Am I putting enough of a percentage in? So it was using the information that they had really, really effectively and positioning themselves as the value giver. And the transaction in this case was information on whether it was valuable to me, whether I was going to click through and go through the process. So, recapping, the 4 content pillars: growth. How do we reach those new target audiences? You know, we spoke about the example of the NHS and how sometimes jumping on the bandwagon isn't such a bad thing. We spoke about authority, having a USP and how we deliver that to our customers or our clients, potential clients, and having the evidence to back that up using authoritative content as essentially our CV. Connection, how do we tell our brand story, and most importantly, selling in the benefits and not just the products. Then we have promotion, which we've just spoken about. Conversions, and also conversions not necessarily being sales or leads, but just being valuable actions that you want your customers to take. Everyone remembers the quote I said earlier, right? Yeah? Someone shout it out?
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Now, I only found this out maybe about a year ago, and some of you might know this already, but it's actually a shortened quote. It's not the full quote, and I think it ties nicely into what I'm trying to say, but Jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. And by no means am I saying that me being a marketing generalist is better than being an expert, because that would be the wrong audience to say that to, wildly rude. However, I think that if there's one takeaway that I could give to everyone, it's that think about the bigger picture, sometimes take a step back, look at PPC and how well it's doing, but also think about how you can help drive your clients' business outcomes by knowing and understanding what's going on elsewhere in their marketing strategy. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie, for sharing that very important perspective with us. In fact, perspective is so important in PPC. So I have 3 podcast recommendations for you before we get to our next speaker. First, of course, is the PPC Live podcast hosted by Anu, where she interviews different PPC practitioners about their biggest F-ups, what they learned, and what you can learn too. Next is the PPC Zone podcast. That's a podcast that I host where I feature diverse perspectives in PPC, similar to PPC Live, but with newer speakers and just 7-minute talks free online. And third is my Inside Google Ads podcast. Every Thursday, I share my best tips, tricks, and advice for you on all aspects of Google Ads, from PMax to AI Max, smart bidding, demand gen, audiences, and more. You can find all of these podcasts on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you follow podcasts. Our next speaker today is Basak Odemis. Let's have a look.
Hello, everyone. I am really happy to be here today. This is my first time in PPC Live as a speaker. So today I will speak about some A/B tests I have driven before for my clients in my consultancy career, also in my agency. But at first, I want to speak about myself. By the way, I have my mobile phone in my hand because I need to check sometimes. Sometimes I'm feeling like time blind. Maybe you too, sometimes time passing really fast, so I will be checking it sometimes. I am in digital marketing industry in the last 8 years. And I started to work in an independent agency in Turkey. I am Turkish, by the way. I am coming from Istanbul, and in the last 4 years, I am living in London right now. And after my independent agencies experiences, I worked with some brands. I worked in-house for Deliveroo in London, and also for Getir, very big brands. And after that, I wanted to work as a freelancer 3 years ago. And after my freelance career, it was good, worked well, really good. And now I have my own agency, very small agency. And also I am Aries, zodiac, and so I have A/B testing gene in my body already. So I love A/B testing. And also I'm thinking A/B test is the center of digital advertising, because when I first started to work in the agencies, I was thinking, what all these people doing here all day? Because, okay, sometimes some briefs are coming and they are implementing some campaigns and changing something, but what else? And I found that the answer, they are testing something to increase the optimization and the performance. And today I will speak about the A/B test, which I implemented and ran for some clients. And the agenda will be UGC versus standard creatives, and after that, power of testimonials and discounts, person versus price, and some landing page. And the last one will be about some of my mistake. UGC, I want to start to speak. How can I start this, Anu, by the way?
Press it again.
Where? Here?
Yeah, press the next button again.
Okay, it is working. Karaca is a big brand here. If you don't know, please test it, because they have really good kitchenware and dinner sets, so stylish. So this is their food processor. And we made a creative test in Instagram. We allocated separate equal budgets, and we targeted equal separate audiences. And we saw in user-generated creatives performance, 60% higher click-through rates and 40% lower cost per click. This is really good change. Also, we saw some performance increase in conversion rates. I believe people really love to. Oh, sorry, it is not working. Okay, there was a video here about user-generated content, and people wanted to see their experiences, how it works. For example, they are touching it and playing it and using it and putting some banana, and you see the smoothies. And people love this. When they see it, they want to go to landing page and want to buy, compared to when they see only one static image. This has more power compared to static and carousels. So this was an insight which I got in this client. So it builds trust, feel authentic, and creates more emotional connection because they feel the experiences. The other A/B test is about comparing discount messaging. The first one was giving discount in percents, for example, like saying 10% off. The other is price, £10 off we are giving. And one of my clients, Panda Kindermobile, they're a furniture company in Switzerland. And we tested this. We set different landing pages, including different off messages. The first one is including percent, and the other was price. And £10 off and 20%, not pound, by the way, franc. So specific price reductions, we saw it converted better than percentage discounts, because human behavior generally tends to see more clear things. For example, really clear message, just 2 words or 3 words, not a long story there. So we are very lazy, especially in the mobile. So when they see clear price instead of percent, we saw in click-through rates 28% increase, and in conversion rate, sales rate, which is increased by 18%, which is really good increase for our client. So we understood tangible numbers feel more valuable and clear for our client's audience. Okay, traffic. Welcome. Landing page is important. We all know this one. Okay, we are targeting the right audiences and we are getting qualified traffic to our website, but how is our landing page? If landing page is not good, generally this is waste of time. We all know, because when we change something in landing page, we see really improve and on conversion rate improvement. And we tested something on landing page. Normod is a furniture company, and I set an A/B test for Normod. And I optimized campaigns for add to cart event, and the landing pages were looking like this. The first one is this lifestyle landing page. It has campaign narrative, lifestyle creatives, and people can have some feeling like, okay, I can have my tea with my friend here, and my cat can be here. So this is more like social media effects, more lifestyle, not really looking like trying to say something from first moment. And the other one is just boring, classical e-commerce experience. And we saw a difference between these different ad sets. So the branding landing page, the first one, the lifestyle creative one, version generated 82% more add to cart with a 46% lower cost per add to cart. This is really big difference for this e-commerce brand. For e-commerce, I believe the landing page differences can create strong results. So I really recommend, if you don't have, or if you have some e-commerce, you can recommend something like this, or even maybe sometimes you can change some buttons placement in the website. It can really create some effect. And it was really nice insight for us. And after that, we got the other landing page that's always on landing page after we completed this test. And let's speak about the mistake. Anyone doesn't like mistake? Me too. I thought this was a result of a mistake. Panda Kindermobile, again, Switzerland's big furniture campaign. One day, my client is calling me, stressful time, and he's saying, Basak, we are in summer, why winter sale is open? We all know this stressful moment from our life. It's happening in the agencies, unfortunately, but we are human, and sometimes it's happening. And not in the summer, just in May, by the way. I want to correct myself. After that, I told him, I'm going to Tube, just give me some moment, I will give it a check, I will speak with the team. And after that, I checked and what I saw. I saw ROAS increased in May, but winter sale, ROAS worked really well. Also, there is no decrease on overall sales. After that, I made a research about this human behavior, and I saw, by the way, this asset was going to an promotion landing page in our website. So we had a sale. So there wasn't an empty thing. So there was still sale, but it was spring sale, not winter sale. And they went, but they still wanted to purchase something, and they already got some furniture from the website. So we saw 5.58 ROAS, and there wasn't any decrease in the ROAS in conversion value. Everything was nice. And after I made a research, I found some essays and something, also in academic, in something. I saw people generally, as I said, people are lazy, we are lazy, especially mobile. We saw some sale, okay, just go there. And if we say, okay, I'm not saying don't focus on message. Message is very important. But sometimes we are really interesting as a humans. So we are going, and if there is a strong sale, it doesn't matter sometimes. They can purchase something still. And fortunately, I told this story to the client, and we were happy at the end of the phone call, and we are still together. But it was really interesting to see this for me, and I wanted to tell the story. And this was my last A/B test, insight and story in my own learnings, and I wanted to speak about landing page and message and creatives, testimonials. Hope it helps you and it can give you some ideas about your work. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Basak, for showing us some really interesting tests we can run in our accounts and how to learn from our mistakes. I'll plug once again that if you have not tuned in to Anu's podcast, PPC Live, the podcast, you absolutely should, so that you can learn from other people's mistakes and avoid making them yourself. If you're a podcast watcher or listener, I also recommend you check out my Inside Google Ads podcast, which comes out every Thursday with the best tips and tricks in Google Ads, and the PPC Zone podcast, where I share diverse perspectives from across our industry. Our next event in December 2025 will feature 3 speakers sharing their best Google Ads B2B tips, so you won't want to miss it. Our final speaker for today's PPC Live Online event is Neil Baker.
A little bit about me, first of all. I'm Neil. I am head of media here at TUG. Been working in the industry for 11 years. Started out in PPC, so that was my bread and butter. And a few people work with me, or have worked with me in the room, will know I love it. It's my passion, so still fun, still like to enjoy it. But I have diversified quite a bit over the last few years into other online channels, performance, did branding as well, and offline channels as well. So come at it from a different perspective. Heading up the media here at TUG, and myself and SEO trying to form more of a future of search and where we're taking the direction of the company. So first of all, it's a really exciting time to be in search. I think things are changing all the time. It's faster than ever. It's never standing still. Google search is becoming more than just lower funnel performance now. We'll touch on it a little bit later about how the whole search funnel is changing. But it's driven by a lot of AI's understanding of human curiosity now, as opposed to keyword targeting. And yeah, consumers' ways of searching are constantly changing. They're more natural and they're getting satisfied a lot quicker. For those of you, I don't know, hands up if you were around 11 years ago in PPC. All right, so a lot of you will remember the first one with 10 ads down the side. And when they took that away, it was pretty scary. We didn't know what to expect. Then smart bidding came, another scary change, and so on and so forth. And now we've got demand gen, performance max, AI max. And the theme of these changes tends to be the same. It's hard at first, messy in the middle, and kind of gorgeous is the right word, but gorgeous at the end is the quote. So yeah, the theme is the same. I think when it comes, it's quite scary. We're all a bit shaken up by it, like what's the change? How are we going to adapt to it? And we find our own ways of working with it. We find our own testing, our methodology, and ways of making it better. And obviously at the end is growth for our clients, is increases in performance, is incrementality in what we're trying to drive, which is really important. So yeah, there are changes to the ways people are searching. There's many changes. I've picked out 3 for us to talk about now. Google Lens is really important. It's changing things. There's 25 billion queries a month, and 1 in 5 of those tend to be commercial intent, which is great. And then the younger audiences are using it a lot more as well. On top of that, we got AI overviews, which I'm going to touch on quite a bit over the next few slides. 2 billion users are using AI overviews on a monthly basis. It's the most popular generative AI tool. I know we've got lots of other ones, ChatGPT, Gemini, but I think AI overviews has that authority, that brand authority, because when we think of a searching, we think, let's Google it. It's that brand authority. You go to Google, so that's why we're going to see the most developments in this area. And then AI mode, probably the one that isn't doing so well, I guess. It's the conversational flow has increased the searches per session, but 50% of people who have used it have never come back to search again. So again, it's a bit of an issue around adaptability and take-up within the LLM marketplace, I guess. So AI overviews, I was at a Google Partners talk a couple of weeks ago where they went through a few of the changes that are coming for AI overviews. Currently, it's being tested with the ad model within the US, which is really interesting. By the end of Q4 is what they tell me, maybe it's Q1, let's see. But that ad model will now be coming to the UK. It's the next market to get it. So it's something that we've really got to be prepared for, but not be scared of. It's a new weapon in our arsenal that we're going to be able to use to go and reach new purchasers, whatever your market is you're going after. What's important about it is the ads are going to be inside the answer. That search funnel is reducing. So it's not going to be above or below. It's going to be there when people are searching, they're getting the answers and they're ready to purchase. And we'll touch on that in a second as well. And AI Max, we've got it at the moment. I think if any of you tested it at the moment, it's probably not working so well. That's because AI Max has been designed specifically to fit into AI overviews and reach out for voice search, which is something else we could talk about. But an example that we've been given here and how that sort of ad will look. We've got here, why is my pool green and how do I clean it? An informational search that we're typically using for AI overviews to answer. It gives you a little bit about why it's green, what it could be. Sometimes you'll take a little picture of the algae with a lens, ask it a question about what this is, and then that'll pop up with the answers. Within that then is, here's vacuum cleaners to clean your pool. It's giving you the answer. Your intent to actually purchase then is a lot higher. I think before we go any further, it's also important to see the wider landscape. So what impact are LLMs having on SEO? So across the board, those informational searches, which SEO has relied on for a very long time, we're seeing falling click-through rates simply because the answer is already in the search engine. There's no need to go across to the website to read or learn about what was your initial question. So as it's getting answered, I think the measurement question is one for SEO to understand, which is what is the value then of appearing in an AI overview as opposed to tracking your click-through rate, tracking your clicks to site. Websites will be used slightly differently within the SEO landscape. So they'll be used to inform the LLM rather than fill it with content that you would then go and read, be it a blog, be it an article about the products. Everything's going to be right there. So kind of touches nicely on Steph's point earlier about authority. Your content will have to do far more about the authority you have in the marketplace as opposed to learning about it. And that will also expand. I don't know how many of you work outside of PPC as well in social? Yeah, a few hands in the air. So the media landscape is going to be a bit wider in how we can help give this authority to it. So it's going to be very important in how you're perceived outside of the content of your website. And Jyll is changing that landscape. So it's important to understand that it's not just changing for us, it's changing for SEO. And actually, maybe the roles there are reversing quite a bit. So I said a talk about search funnels, and this is kind of how I view it at the moment, is we've got the old search funnel and the new search funnel that's going to be coming within AI overviews, for example, or any LLM. So the old search funnel is a multi-search journey. The first search is quite informational. You want to learn about the product. You want to learn about whatever it is you look for. I've chosen best running shoes for flat feet, really. I got flat feet, so I got to search for best running shoes. You click a blog, you read about it, you learn about the shoes, you find out a few products or brands. Then you go to the comparison element, which is the second search, where you're trying to decide which product's better for you. Then you're going to go to have a little bit more purchase intent and go and find out, go and actually make the purchase. That search funnel typically it can take hours, days, weeks, depending on how much time, I guess, you've got to make your purchase. The new search funnel, which we call a single moment answer, you're searching, what are the best running shoes for my flat feet? Still informational search. And this was one I did earlier. For flat feet, you'll need stability shoes. I'm not going to tell you all that, but it's basically all the information you would have got from these searches here. And then on top of that, here's the answers. Here's all the information about these products. Here's the products. Do you want to purchase them now? So that intent to purchase is going to be far, far quicker. So get ready for the ads in AI Overview. So here's a few things that we're thinking about ahead of it. So understand the content of your website. We've always had to know about what's on the site for our quality scores, for example, to make sure they're really relevant. But the relationship with PPC and content is about to change. We need to also think about how we're putting content together that is more informational for indexing and crawling, because that's going to be really important, which I guess have a conversation with people you know in the SEO industry, content writers, to kind of understand that a little bit more in that relationship. And I'll get into why in a second. So this is particularly looking at AI Max as well, by the way. So you'll have a lot more control than you think. So exclusions are going to be the controller, not what you actually add to it. So URL exclusions, asset exclusions, negative keywords are still going to be a thing. So make sure you're prepared for that, and think about your campaign builds. How can I build different campaigns based upon the journeys that we want to take people on, and rather than maybe broad and everything is going wild, be a bit more controlled in how we're doing it. AI Max is not going to cannibalize searches if we set it up in a different way. So I think it won't do it if you have exact match keywords. So exact match keywords are always going to take the priority. So any of your converting keywords, make sure you're putting them in your campaigns as exact. Lost my train of thought. But yeah, your search keywords will be prioritized over PMax and AI Max. So make sure that you're using AI Max to go after those AI overviews. And as Bayak said earlier, test. It's really important. Do your A/B testing. Find your best practice. We can stand here and talk about it, but until we're actually doing it, you're going to learn for yourself what's best for you and what's best for your client. And everyone's a little bit individual as well. I remember change is hard at first, but gorgeous at the end. And here's a little demo where you can find those AI Max experiments when we start to get ads in those AI overviews, in the UI interface, and then AI Max experiments, which I'm sure will be sent around later. And give it time, just like with any intent-based targeting, it needs time. If your client turns it on for a week and it doesn't work, yeah, it's not going to work in a week. I think if anybody remembers when PMax first came out, it didn't work for a long time. It needed a longer testing period. We needed to adapt. We needed to find our way of doing it and put the right inputs into it. And that's really important too. And where Google leads, others are going to follow. So OpenAI are soon to have their own advertising model. They've just hired a lot of ex-Meta VPs who built their advertising model too. So monetization of LLMs is going to come, and it's going to be a new weapon that we have. Don't be afraid of it. It's a new tool. It means we're able to go across these different areas and find a bit of incrementality. And obviously a little note there, it only has 2.1% of the market, ChatGPT, which isn't massive. Obviously, it's still way behind Bing, for example, so it's not an absolute priority right now. But start thinking about it when we start building our AI Max campaigns. But the growth is quite large, so up from 0.25% last year. People are starting to use it more and more, but maybe not as much as the hype train will have you believe. I think it brings us on to another subject. We talked a little bit about data, and data inputs are going to be really important moving forward, as they already are right now, as I'm sure you're all aware of. And we like to call ourselves data-driven in PPC. We're all about the numbers. But data-driven doesn't just mean the outputs and the measurements off the back of it. It's also about data flow into the campaigns, into the strategies that we're doing as well. So taking that first-party data of the clients, making sure we've got it segmented as we need to inform it in the best possible way for each campaign, each product that we're going after. And data flow is going to be super, super important for the future. And AI is a great tool, but the human output element of it is going to be more important. AI is here to take our jobs. it's not. It's here to work with us. And here's a study from, it's a digital marketing maturity study showing the impact of AI if you like, I know I hate using the word, but of AI, and a 20% growth on average from using the advanced tech, but then when you add the element of human data inputs into it, and we'll touch on what that means now, but we see an extra 15% growth there. The evolution of the PPC manager is something that we think about constantly, like how is our job role changing and where's it going? So we've broken it down into three sort of eras, and I'll touch on them all. The operator, which is when ads were down the side and we were in every day changing bids to hope to get another position up so somebody will notice that we had it, we all know it. Well, not all of us, I guess. How many people have never had to change max CPC bids on a daily basis? Yeah, there's quite a lot, right? So yeah, that was the operator era, and the success of that was who could operate the machine the best. The manager era is we gave up that manual bidding element over to Google's AI and the bidding strategies, but we still manage the keyword, the ad groups, the ad copy. We were the managers of AI. We are heading towards the strategist era, I guess, whether we kind of like it or not. And what does that mean? It means keywordless bidding. I don't know how far we are away from that yet, but we've got lots of tools now where we don't put any keywords in it. We've got PMax, we've got Demand Gen, AI Max is using it. Yeah, and those AI generated assets, we provide those strategic inputs, the goals, the audience signals, the brand's creative direction, and there's many other layers to that as well. But our job isn't to operate the machine anymore, it's to teach it, to help it to learn, to drive it into the right direction, that we can get the best performance. And a lot of this, I've put here, a lot of this depends on your clients. So a lot of this depends on data maturity. So how mature are your clients? How far along the scale are they? How much do they understand their own first-party data? How much can they break it down and give it to you in the areas you want it? So I think we've got to get a lot more comfortable with having that conversation about data, having that conversation, being a bit of a link from the marketing team to the data team. That's kind of where the future of managers probably is. And it depends on budgets as well, right? So some of your clients will have lower budgets. They're not looking for incremental growth right now. So yeah, so that's how we're kind of envisaging it. So I guess a few takeaways. Don't be afraid of the change. It's a new weapon. This whole AI overviews, LLMs, they're going to be a powerful tool for us in reaching people in a different way when they're ready to purchase, when they've done their informational research. That funnel is collapsing a little bit in terms of search, not in terms of the whole marketing place. You know what I mean? It's going to help us to reach more people when they're ready to purchase. Be ready, adapt, test, learn. As the second speaker said, remember, change can be gorgeous, obviously. And website content is going to be very important. So try and build a relationship with it. Try and understand how SEO have been developing content. I think the roles are going to switch. And that's going to be far more important for us in the future. And how humans and AI work together is going to be what sets us apart. So think about that. Don't be scared of it. It's not going to take our job. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm looking forward to chatting to you later.
Thank you, Neil, for sharing your perspective on how we need to update our strategies to keep up with changing consumer behaviors. We are now going to flip over to our exclusive PPC Live Online panel hosted by the one and only Anu. Stick with us, and if you have any questions at all for our speakers or Anu, drop them into the chat, whether you're watching this on YouTube or LinkedIn. Let's get that panel started.
Hey.
Hi guys.
I'm muted, so I'm unmuted now. Thank you guys for joining us. That was such a great, fantastic talk. Like, I'd say for the two of you, like, because it's been a couple of weeks now from there you've done that talk. Is there anything else that you'd like to maybe add to what you said now that you just like rewatched it, or anything that you'd want to be like, maybe you're like, oh, maybe that's not what you should have said about something. I'll start with you, Stephanie.
I don't know, to be honest. Like, there's nothing additional that I want to say. If anyone has any questions, then I'm here to answer them. Or if you have any questions, I'm happy to just riff, ad lib with it. That's fine. But yeah, I have
Absolutely.
nothing. Yeah.
That's fine. No worries. Thanks, Steph. How are you, Neil?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you doing?
We're good. We're very good.
Good.
Yeah, you gave some really great insights as to what we'll be doing, thinking about in terms of like AI, for next year. But yeah, to even start off, like, what was your like favorite updates that you saw that came out, in terms of like what Google announced this year?
Yeah, I think what I touched on, I guess, I think it's monetizing those sort of informational searches. It's exciting that we're going to finally be able to have ads across some of these LLMs now. It's opening up new avenues for us to make money for our clients and find some incremental gains. So I think it's a really exciting time that we're stepping into.
Amazing. Stephanie, what are you excited for next year?
I'm really excited about, like Neil said in his talk, and like I said at the event as well, SEO and PPC coming together a little bit more and being more integrated. Like I said in my talk, I do think that marketing channels working together is always the best way. So I think with that integration and with AI overviews, encompassing both SEO and PPC, that's going to be really interesting to see. So, we don't know exactly how it'll turn out yet, but I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure. Yeah, definitely. So am I. I think everybody just thinks that, oh yeah, we've hit this AI revolution, but there's still more to dig into. There's still lots more to discover. So excited for that. We've got some very quite technical questions, and I'll hand this over to you, Neil, because I know Stephanie, you're more of like the fantastic generalist kind of point of view. So this is for you, Neil. In terms of like there's someone who I believe is probably in the healthcare field, and she's asked quite a few questions around performance optimization, ad copy, and how to be able to even track real conversations. And one thing I'd like to face first of all is like she asked what's an ideal bidding strategy for like healthcare kind of ads. Do you have any advice for that one?
Yeah, I think it depends on the client, I guess, and the strategy they're going after, what their core KPIs are. We do have some private healthcare companies that we work with. So for us, it's about driving quality leads. So going beyond just driving leads, just driving clicks, but actually trying to import back in what those quality leads look like and optimizing towards that.
Amazing. And has there been any like changes that you've seen in terms of how ads or creative is picked up in terms of shown in like AI overviews, or how things are used in terms of answers for like kind of the healthcare field?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest impact this year has been on Meta. There's been new sort of restrictions put in place there, which have meant you can't really identify people by their ailment or their illness. So making sure there's no sort of data getting passed back into the engine that's identifiable for anyone. So I think you've got to be really, really careful over that and designing pages that can't really share that data in any way. So I think once you've kind of got past that barrier and found different ways to do it, one of the ways that we managed to do was try and build microsites. So start with a fresh pixel, no data that's being shared there. And that's, seen some decent results from that. Managed to get it back going.
Awesome. And this is like a very specific one. I thought it would be interesting to cover in terms of like things like creative and maybe doctors and the kind of professionals that that people like healthcare companies want to showcase. Is it a good thing to like put pictures of like the healthcare professionals when it comes to creative? What's actually important?
Yeah, so we're doing a lot of testing on that for one of our clients at the moment, actually. So they have a lot of doctors that they're trying to push the PR of across various channels. And I think it's building up a little bit more about them and who they are, so that people are ready to kind of see them as experts and go after them. So yeah, definitely use them as if they're worth using. If you're trying to push them in other ways, I think that's really important.
All right, fantastic. So now just going in general to talk about, some of the things that, people pointed out, like in the in-person event, there were some interesting updates. I think one was the fact that ChatGPT has a new browser. That was my favorite that came out. I think that literally, I think, got released the day of the event. I didn't even hear about it.
Fresh
Someone
that day.
said,
Yeah, I hadn't seen that, but then, yeah.
fresh off the press. And the things that of being able to actually do a direct purchase within, ChatGPT as well. That one has started in the US. That's probably gonna come to the UK, at some point. Do you have any thoughts on, because I especially in terms of like testing and being the first to test, I think there's 2 points of views of whether you're the first to go in on testing something, or you wait till other people have gone in first and see when the results have stabilized. I'll actually come to you for this, Stephanie, as to whether you think, in terms of your team, are you guys kind of first to test things, or are you kind of the thought process of let's give it a bit of time for the results to actually show?
I definitely think where relevant and where possible, we try to test new things, because we do want to. Obviously, everyone wants to be ahead of the curve, right? We want to be leading those conversations. We want to be making sure that we're doing as much as possible for our clients and showing them that we are forward thinking and we're doing everything that is going to get them the results in the end and lead them forward. But I do at the same time understand the hesitation around it. Obviously, there was a lot of conversation, like you said, around AI Max not having worked very well for a lot of people. And I guess hearing that and being in an echo chamber of fellow PPC experts and a lot of other people in the same industry, you're going to take those pieces of information and kind of be like, oh, should I be testing this? I think it's bittersweet. You want to test it and make sure you are doing it, but at the same time, you don't want to do the wrong thing. So I just think sometimes you've got to do it. You've got to do the testing. If it does work, it does, and if it doesn't, then move on to something else. Move on to the next thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and how about you, Neil? What's it like at Talk?
No, yeah, I agree. I think it's really important, even in the early days, to test it a little bit just to find out how it works, the types of settings, and get comfortable with these new changes that come in. And then gradually, you don't find your own best practice of working with something until you've failed at it, I guess, as well. So I think a big part of testing is failing is okay as well. Sometimes a bad test is actually means that you've ticked off something that doesn't work, which is the way you get to finding out what does work.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys would have heard Jyll very kindly plugging the podcast where we talk about the mistakes that you make, and that's the journey that everyone has to go on the road to success. The road to success is paved with the several mistakes that you've made of what to do, what not to do. So yeah, I think I would definitely encourage with a very approved budget set with your client of testing things out brand new that might not work, and just giving people to communicate very much that it might not work. So yeah, there are not any more questions, but I'd love for you guys to what's your advice? What's one piece of advice you want to leave our audience with as they're rounding up the year? We're getting to Black Friday, the e-commerce, big time of the year. What's one piece of advice that each of you would like to leave our audience with? I'll start with you, Steph.
I guess the biggest thing that I'm doing personally, obviously from a generalist point of view again, is really looking at what has worked over the past year, but also leaning into those new things that are going to be happening, regardless of channel, and adapting strategy and adapting activity to suit that as well, and kind of leaning on that historical data, but also like we've just spoke about, like not being afraid to take risks and test new things if it's going to lead to the information that we need going forward. So I would just say, yeah, be brave, test the new thing sensibly, but yeah.
Absolutely. How about you, Neil? What's your advice for people as they go into the Black Friday and Christmas holidays?
Yeah, I guess good luck. It's a busy time of the year. Enjoy it. But yeah, I guess there's lots of learnings to be had. But I think in general, I think lots of people are almost a bit wary with all the changes going on at the moment. But I think treat it as an exciting thing. Like I kind of touched on in my talk, it's an exciting time to be in PPC. The rate of change is quick, which means you do have to adapt to it quickly and pick these new challenges up. But it's opening up a lot more for us, a lot of incrementality for us, a lot of new ways for us to market. And it's not necessarily taken away from us yet. It's just adapting. So don't be scared of it. Attack it like we've always done, and we'll come out the other side.
Amazing. No, you couldn't have said it, any better, because like something that I was really on my mind and my heart to start really talking more about is the importance of the expert and the importance of still training people on the best practices, data best practices on how to do paid search, understanding how the algorithm works before you start going into the whole, how is AI going to make my life better? Learn how to be an expert paid search marketer, an expert SEO marketer, an expert generalist marketer. Like literally those basics of know your customer, what they want to see in terms of creative, what kind of questions, what kind of pain points they want you to solve in terms of the product itself is going to be more important than this whole AI thing. And if AI helps that, yes. And if AI is not going to help that, you've got to be careful on how you use it. You're going to say something else?
Yeah, I think it's how humans and AI work, which is going to give you the best results. So we still have to kind of program the systems as to what we need to go after. And I think one of the questions in the talk was how the role is changing for an exec. And I don't necessarily think the role is changing massively for exec. Maybe the operational side is, but you still need to be trained in the fundamentals. I think the role is probably changing more manager up, but I think the execs still need to have strong fundamentals and base. So if you're starting out, focus on your fundamentals and understand the nuances of the engine.
Amazing. I love that. You're starting out, focus on the nuances, of the changes, the fundamentals. Make sure you don't forget the fundamentals. On that note, thank you so much, Stephanie. Thank you so much, Neil, for joining us today. And that's it from us today. And I hope you guys join us for the next event in person. That's going to be on the 5th of February. So this is our last one of the year. So without further ado, we wish you a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. And I hope after you've done your dry January, we know that's what everybody does in January, we're going to come back in February for another event that will be in East London, probably at the Tug offices, but might not be, but come to the location's pretty confirmed, but that's definitely going to be like in the East London area. So look out for that information. So 5th of February, put that in your calendars. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks, Steph. Thanks, Neil.
Great.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.